Welcome to Tech Bites with Dan Hafner, your gateway to the future of innovation and technology. Dive into the exciting world of software where cutting-edge tech meets creativity. Explore no-code solutions that empower businesses to thrive without traditional barriers. Hear inspiring stories from tech pioneers and industry leaders who are changing the game. Join us on Tech Bites and transform the way you think about technology and business.
Have you ever felt like there's just way too many tools to choose from when you're looking into something? You're not alone, especially in the world of no-code. So there are new platforms and tools popping up constantly in this world. And it's very easy to get stuck in this tool paralysis type of syndrome that I call it, where you really spend more time deciding what tool you're going to build in rather than just building. So in this episode, number 3 of the No Code Advantage series, I'm going to go through and break down the best no-code tools to use based on the project type that you are trying to accomplish, so you can make the right choice and you can start building fast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. My name is Dan Hafner. This is episode number 3 of the No Code Advantage. If you have not already listened to episode 1 and 2, I highly recommend you go back to it. We did an overview of that. We did a mindset episode. We're building on this now because this is actually one of my favorite episodes. How do you choose the right tool? This is one of the most common challenges that I face and my clients face on a daily basis. And choosing the right tool before you go and build what you're going to build is a very, very key thing, because you can end up building things in the wrong tool. You can end up down a path where you realize that the tool that you have does not fit what you're actually trying to do or capable of doing. And it's not fun for anyone in any aspect of the imagination. So what I'm going to do in this episode is walk you through my personal approach to selecting the right no-code platform for the specific project or tool that you're trying to build. There's a methodology that I've learned over the many failures that I've had and the many successes that I've had, not only for myself, but for my clients as well. So welcome into the show again. I'm very, very excited to share this with you. Please like and subscribe the show so you get updates for the No Code Advantage series. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is a generic 3-step process to just kind of frame your mind inside of picking the right no-code tool for what it is you're trying to build, right? So before you do what I did the first time I was going down this path of figuring out the app that I wanted to build, the running and fitness app that I wanted to build, where I just signed up for this platform and that platform and this platform and that platform and this platform, and I did the 2-week trial and then waited till it was going to charge me and then canceled that one and then signed up for the next one and then canceled that one. It was a mess. It was not fun for anybody. So here's kind of the process I developed. It's very, very simple. We're going to dive into each one of these deeper. Right. Number 1, define the goal. Like, what are you actually building? Are you building a website? Are you building a mobile app? Are you building a SaaS platform? Are you just trying to automate some things? Do you need a database? Like, what is it that you're actually trying to build? Because that makes a world of difference. It's like a different domain, right? Having a website is different from an app, is different from a database, is different from, like, they can all be tied together, but inside of what you're building specifically, they're all different domains. So number 1, what is the goal? Number 2, match the tool to your needs, right? So instead of going out there looking for all these tools or learning all of these tools, find the best fit for your specific project. Search for no-code automation tools, or no-code mobile app builders, or no-code website builders, right? Get very specific to the specific tool that's going to match your needs, right? And then number 3, validate with a quick test. Instead, and this is kind of going back to what I just said that I did a lot of, sign up for the free trial, get the account, and just try to build something small before you actually commit. The nice thing about a lot of these is they have free tiers, and a lot of them don't require credit cards to sign up. So even if you're looking to just start cheap and you're kind of afraid of what happened to me, where you sign up for 20 different platforms and they all charge you, a lot of those have kind of removed that. So you actually don't need a card. For example, like if you want to build a simple marketplace or a SaaS tool, a tool that like Bubble or a Dollar or something like that, you can have free accounts forever. They only charge you when it comes time to launch and publish, right? That's the three-step framework, right? Define your goal, match the tool to your need, and then validate with a quick test. Don't dive down the rabbit hole of learning Bubble or learning Webflow or learning Zapier. You don't have to, right? Not yet, anyway. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this no-code tool breakdown. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I have a really cool tool for you guys, resource I'm going to share with you at the end. You can get it in show notes right now. That is going to be really, really helpful to kind of walk through all these things in more depth that I'm talking through. Should have mentioned that at the top of this episode. So what are the different categories of no-code tools, and what are the ones that are recommended for which? Like, so a lot of times we'll have clients come to me and they'll say, we want to build X, Y, or Z, or we want to build this marketplace or this internal tool or this, system for lead gen and follow-up, or whatever the case might be. Well, depending on what they're building, it depends on which direction we point them, right? If a lot of times there are people who just end up needing automation, or they might just need really kind of a website system or a backend database, right? They don't need an entirely custom built SaaS platform that would be available on all these different devices, right? So, so one of the categories, the first category is obviously websites and landing pages. Okay. So if you find that you're kind of in need for one of those, Webflow is the best. They're the king in the space. They're one of the best ones. There's a couple other ones. One that I've used a lot is called Card, with 2 R's, which is really, really cool. And then Softer. Softer is a really, really up and coming no-code platform. I'll actually mention that a couple times throughout here. But those are really some of the big ones. And there's obviously a ton more. I'm just trying to mention a couple, or else we'd be here all day for its own episode on this. Category number 2 is mobile and web apps, right? So the ones that I really like, excuse me, that I find really, really valuable and I use almost every single day. One is Adalo, the other is Glide, and the other is Bubble. There's another one out there called Flutterflow, which is, Bubble and Flutterflow are your kind of more advanced no-code mobile and web app builders. This is specifically what we do here at Dapper No Code. Adalo and Glide are going to be your more, I call them the Apple of no-code app builders, right? Like they're a little more simple to learn. They are, you can do advanced things, but not quite as advanced as Bubble or Flutterflow. If you know a little bit of coding, you can go a long way with that. So those are like the ones I like to recommend for mobile and web apps. If you're trying to build a marketplace, there's 2. I mentioned Softer, and there's actually a newer one called Share Tribe, which is kind of interesting that I'm learning a little bit about. I don't know a whole lot about them, but they seem to be towards the top of a lot of lists. The 4th category, automation and workflows. Okay, so there's really 2 names in this space. I use both of these. The first one is called Zapier. Some people say Zapier, but I've learned it before. You're happier with Zapier. It's definitely Zapier. Okay, that is also a little bit more of the easier, the Apple-esque, type of use case for these types of tools. I've used Zapier forever. I have the paid account of it. Use it for myself, my clients. It works awesome. I love it. Make.com. It's formerly Integromat. I've mentioned that in a couple of other episodes. That's a really cool platform. Again, it's a little more advanced, but you can do a lot of more advanced things with it. So those are really the main 2 in the space. There's other newer ones coming out, but I just wanted to mention those 2. A couple cool ones inside of the 5th category, databases and backends. One is Airtable. I've heard a lot of people love Airtable. A lot of people hate Airtable. It is what it is. It's kind of an advanced Excel type of version. There's another one called Xano, which actually is a really cool partnership and sync with Adalo. So you can actually have HIPAA compliant apps and very secure applications using Adalo. I believe Bubble as well, which is really, really cool. So you can kind of, combine these tools. Like a lot of people will combine Airtable with Webflow or Adalo or Bubble, and use Airtable as their backend database. All right, 6th category, e-commerce, really kind of like e-commerce stores. The big names in this space are, one, Shopify. They are the giant in this space. And then another one I've seen very, very common anymore is called Gumroad. A lot of people use that for a lot of different things. Even like I've seen people just use sales pages for that or website pages on Gumroad. It's very flexible, very, very useful. Another one that's being another category that's very, very popular anymore is memberships and communities. You can build really, really incredibly powerful communities and memberships using one tool called School. I'm sure probably all of you have heard of this if you listen to this episode or this podcast. So School is very, very popular. I believe their platform is $97 a month. Circle is another one that's very, very popular. Um, Again, just a lot different than that. There's another one called Go Collab, which is a newer one. It's a lot like School, but it's kind of through a tool called Go High Level, which is very interesting. And then I've also used one before called Mighty Networks. And they have a lot of different tiers and a lot of ways you can build things as well. And a lot of this, again, these are all no-code tools. Finally, we have AI and chatbots. There's an exhaustive list in all of these. I'm trying to kind of be very, particular in ones that I choose to mention. But you obviously have ChatGPT, you have Gemini, you have Claude. One that's very interesting called VoiceFlow. That's a very, very interesting one. Again, there's tons and tons of these inside the AI and chatbots tool. We have our very own that we white label called Varus Chat. You can check it out at varuschat.com. And it's just there's so many of these that are just kind of available to you. And there's new ones every single day. So I'm sure by the time you listen to this, it might be even out of date. Hopefully not. I tried to make it as evergreen as I possibly can. So pro tip here. If you're non-technical, especially inside of what we do with the web and mobile app space, Adalo, Glide, and Softer are going to be your best starting points. Like those are going to be the ones where you could probably come in, you could figure it out yourself, you could run a test, you could get a test app going or something going on your own. Those are going to be your best case scenarios. If you need custom logic, if you need more advanced features, more advanced capabilities, Bubble or your Flutter flows and the Xano are going to be your best bets, right? So again, that's kind of my version of the short podcast version of the exhaustive list of actual tools to start using inside of those specific categories. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you. Now, before we end the show, I definitely have more inside of this episode. So one thing I wanted to mention, some common mistakes to avoid when it comes to diving into this world of no code tool selection. I've talked with a lot of people who are actually either active or former developers who are kind of breaking into the world of no code and kind of testing it and seeing what's going on. That's an interesting conversation. We'll talk about that more someday on an episode, I'm sure. But common things that I see, and I actually did this very first one, was tool overload. Like that's a very common mistake, trying to learn all the tools all at once, signing up for this one, signing up for that one, doing this one, trying this one out. It's a lot. They all have people who are subject matter experts, right? You can go on Upwork and you can go on Fiverr and you could search for Zapier experts, and there's going to be tons of them. You could go on and search Webflow experts, and there's going to be tons of them. Like you can have such deep knowledge and expertise in one of these tools. So if you're just trying to launch something, don't try to be the tool guru, right? Like just stick to one or two and figure those out enough to be dangerous, right? Another one that I've seen that's very interesting, a common mistake, is ignoring scalability from the get-go, right? You want to choose a tool that you know is going to be able to grow with your business. You might not be thinking about having thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions or tens of millions of users right out of the gate, but you want to make sure that you choose properly and you think about that in case that happens. There is one really cool tool that I did not mention above for web and mobile app development that we've used actually in the past. We don't use a whole lot, but it's called Backendless. I've actually interviewed the founder of that, the owner of that platform here on the podcast. You can go back in the previous episodes. I'm not sure which number it was, but you can listen to that one. It's very interesting. And that is basically for exactly what it sounds like, unlimited scalability inside of the no-code world. It's a very, very interesting tool. And then a third common mistake I see a lot of people make is this, like forgetting the integrations that you're going to need. Everyone thinks that you can build all you need inside of one tool, and they all are all in one tool. That's not the case. You really want to make sure that whatever tool you're choosing can be connected and integrate with tools like Zapier or Make, or have at least, API connection capability, because the last thing you want to have is stovepipe things. I remember when I built my very first app, like we had the app built and then I had the website over here and I had people signing up on the website and they weren't connecting to the app over here because I didn't even know Zapier existed. I didn't even know that was a thing, right? So I had this list of people over here and this, and it was segmented and it was broken and it didn't work right because I just didn't know that you could connect things like that, right? So like, yeah, so, an example of, like a founder wants to build this MVP for their app and we're going to use Adalo, right? But they don't really think about, you know, what kind of connections would I need to be able to have? When I do this, I want to be able to send this email. I want to be able to have this go. I want to be able to do this. Well, Adalo doesn't do that specifically, but it has a very easy connection to Zapier where you can then connect to all these other things. We connect them into other tools. We send email campaigns. We do texting. We do all these things. So just make sure whatever you're building, and that's kind of one of the dangers of some of the new platforms that come out, the new ways of building things. You see all these things for this brand new way to build your app using AI in 30 seconds. It's like, well, does it connect with this? Is it usable? Is it actually going to be the thing that is going to be able to let me scale my business? Like, I don't know. I have to investigate that. I'm not just going to jump into that willy-nilly and just hope that it works out, right? So, just that's one of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen people, and I made that myself as well too. So I feel free to, pay it forward in that regard. So another thing to talk about too, is when I first heard this term, I was really confused as to what it was. But there are ways that you build what's called a no-code tech stack. Now, I had never heard of this term being in the tech world. What the heck is a tech stack when you hear this, right? Well, all a tech stack is your different tools that you're using to base your business on, right? When I think about the tech stack that I have inside of my business, right? We have Go High Level, we have Adalo, we have Stripe, we have Zapier, and that's pretty much it for the main ones. And then there's some, I have Slack, we have Zoom, we have Google Drive, we have all these different tools that we use to build on, but they are all interconnected and they all play inside of our stack that allows us to build and grow, right? So especially when it comes to, okay, I want to build this MVP, I want to build this thing. What is your front end? Is it going to be Webflow? Is it going to be Adalo, Glide, Bubble? What's the front facing thing that you're going to have? The second piece is what's your backend? Is it going to be stored inside of that same place? Is that an all-in-one tool that does your front and your back end? Or are you going to use something like Airtable or Xano or Supabase, right? That's something to think about. The other thing is automation. What's your tech stack for automation? Is it going to be Zapier? Is it going to be Make? Is it going to be Paddle? Is it going to be all these different ones? So what's the tool that you want to use there? And then obviously you need a payments and a monetization technology piece. Is it going to be Stripe? Is it going to be Square? Is it going to be PayPal? Like there's all kinds of different payment integrations that you can use with different places as well. So yes, there's never going to be an all-in-one, I just can build everything like this inside of one tool. That's just, if you find it and you know what it is, please leave it in the comments. We'd all love to hear it. But as far as I've been able to find, there isn't anything like that at this point. So, we have to do the best of what we have. So there's strategy to thinking about this. What can your business afford? What do you really need? How do you want to do it? There's lots of things to think about, and I'm happy to help anyone figure that out as well. If you want to book a call with me or anything like that, there's just so many different ways to kind of go down that road that it's hard to do it inside of a podcast. But like, for example, like let's do like if someone wants to build like a booking system, right? Like a calendaring type system. You could use something like Adalo or Glide for the front end to build the booking system. You use Airtable then to use that as the storage. So every time there's a booking on the front end, you use Zapier as the automation to put it over into Airtable, right? And then you put in Stripe for your payment processor, right? That's your tech stack using all no-code tools that allows you to pull off this business system and allows you to grow and scale. And then you maybe have MailChimp, or you have another email tool on the back end that allows you to do follow-ups and marketing, right? So it's a really, really fun world. There's so many cool tools, and I probably didn't even cover a thimble of them, on this show. But that leads me to the special offer here at the end of this actual episode for the other free resource that I want to offer you, which you can grab in the show notes below. It's called the No Code Tool Selector Guide. Okay, so you can download it here. It's a Notion document. And it is going to walk you through pretty much everything you need to know, like the decision tree flow chart, picking the right tool you need in minutes, the side-by-side comparisons of the features, the pricings, the use cases, what type of stacks you can use to build your MVP, combinations that are very common. Very, very cool resource, and that is 100% free for you guys as a thank you for listening to this podcast, and I really, really appreciate all of you coming on and doing that, okay? So that is all for episode number 3. In the next episode number 4 of the No Code Advantage, we're going to tackle something that trips up a lot of no-code creators, which is the big V word, which is validation. How to validate your idea before you go down this building process so you don't waste time building something that nobody wants. I'm very, very excited for that one. Talked a lot about this on the show in other episodes and other guests I've had on. I'm very, very excited for that one. So be sure you subscribe to the show, tune in, and I will see you in episode 4.
Thanks for tuning in to Tech Bites, your go-to show for software business and technology. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest episodes, insights, and stories. Hungry for more? Dive deeper into the world of no-code by visiting dapanacode.com. Your journey to building amazing software without coding skills starts there. Connect with like-minded creators and unlock a world of resources tailored just for you. Subscribe now. Explore Dapper No Code and let's innovate together.